Welcome. In this video, we are excited to share some insights with you today on case reports, case report poster formatting, general poster design tips, RAD-specific information, and some tips for winning RAD case report posters. Just a quick reminder that a case report is a detailed report of the symptoms, signs, diagnosis, treatment, and follow-up of individual patients. Usually there is something remarkable or unusual about the diagnosis, outcome, or treatment. Case series consist of several patients with the same unique diagnosis, outcome, or treatment. A case report poster is a visual representation of a case report, meaning such posters should have all the elements that you would see in a case report, only condensed, concise, and visually appealing for the poster medium. Now, why should you submit case reports to RAD and other conferences as a student? Scholarly activity is required for residency applications and for medical residents. It can add knowledge about rare and challenging diseases, and evidence shows that poster creation and presentation lead to subsequent publishing of related manuscripts. Finally, practice makes perfect. Case reports and case report posters are often the first attempt at medical writing, as well as editing and publishing. Here are the elements of a case report poster. The title should identify it as a case report. Most case reports will have similar sections: an abstract for submission, an introduction, case information that includes clinical findings, timelines, assessments, interventions, follow-up, and outcomes, and a discussion. We also often see acknowledgments or contributions and a short list of references. Right now, there isn't a poster rubric available for students for RAD, but we do have plans to discuss a rubric for submitters next year. We have included this example of a poster rubric from another poster conference that you might get some good ideas from. Overall, use the information from our class today, especially on design, to make your poster stand out in a good way. You can have the most intriguing or groundbreaking case on your poster, but if it is hard to read or understand or doesn't catch viewers' attention, less people will get to know about your important case. Now for our typical train wreck poster example. Imagine if this was supposed to be a case report poster. What is successful about the example? What is unsuccessful about the example? Some things you might consider are that the background image is too distracting, which detracts from the illustrations. The text box backgrounds are dark, which can make text difficult to read. The text box backgrounds are also all different colors for no reason, which can be distracting. Text boxes are different widths, which disrupts the flow and balance of the poster. Finally, not a great graphic of a guinea pig on the scale. Instead, they could have used actual pictures from their study. All right, now let's shift our focus to the poster design elements we will be covering today. These are typography, balance, color, and layout. Typography is the first element we will discuss, which is just a fancy way of saying font choice. You should choose no more than 2 fonts for your research poster. In general, 1 font for the title and the other font is for the body text. Any more than 2 fonts become visually overwhelming and unnecessary. How your poster is being presented will determine what is the best approach for choosing a font. Text for web and other digital items are sans serif fonts. Serif fonts are generally considered a good choice for body text and print materials. Serif fonts include the little feet or extra strokes. These extra strokes create an inclined line that helps the reader follow along. Sans serif will be the opposite. They don't include the extra strokes. These fonts are best used in digital settings. So sans serif is ideal for RAD since you submit your RAD posters digitally. When considering the right font to use, you can't go wrong with the classics. Arial, Times New Roman, and Helvetica are all great options. We recommend the following font sizes for each of the text-based elements in your poster. Readability is one of the most important considerations when choosing fonts, so avoid making fonts too small or too distracting. Don't forget that the lowest font size, even for charts text, is 24 font. You can decrease the font of references and/or acknowledgments, but every other section of your poster should be very readable for the average person. Remember, keep it simple with no more than 2 fonts, one for titles and one for body text. Also stick to the classics like Arial, Times New Roman, or Helvetica. The next design element to consider is balance. In this context, we are using the term balance to refer to a variety of visual elements. In other words, you do not want your poster to only include text. This is an example of an unbalanced poster and is a wall of text. This poster is not engaging and does not draw your eye in. Instead, include images, graphs, or tables to bring in a variety and to communicate your content in different ways. This is an example of a balanced poster. As you can see, the poster draws your eye in, including images and graphs to convey your work. Avoid pixelated graphics. Images should be imported as JPEG and PNG formats and preferably be 300 dpi or dots per inch for printing large scale. This will prevent your images from appearing pixelated, especially when your poster is printed. We recommend trying to avoid copyrighted images if possible. Instead, try to use open source images. Some resources for open source images include unsplash.com and stocksy.com. Also remember to always credit photographers or site sources. A good website for open source medical images is OpenEye, which is an open access biomedical image search engine. BioRender is another tool that can help you create professional scientific figures. Remember that your poster should just be more than text. Add balance and increase engagement with images and graphs. Also avoid copyrighted materials and always credit photographers and site sources. Color is the third element to consider when making a poster. As you are designing your poster, be sure to avoid large areas of black or other extremely dark colors when printing a poster. Dense areas of ink can make the paper physically weak and take a long time to draw. This could potentially cause ink smudging as well. If you have freedom to select colors outside of a designated brand, consider matching your colors and other imagery you have incorporated. Generally, color schemes for scientific posters follow the brand guidelines of the organization where the research is conducted. As an HSE student, you may likely use one of the 5 research poster templates found in the Office of Marketing and Communication research page. For reference, the color codes for the HSE brand are as follows. Finally, the last element to consider is composition or layout. It is important to avoid crowding your poster with too much content. Composition is the harmony of all the elements in your poster. A good composition will have a natural flow and give the viewer a variety of interest points to draw them in. As you can see, this poster has good flow. It has a mix of text and graphs that creates a sense of balance, and it is well organized. Additionally, you can list your orchid on your poster to provide further information. They can be placed after your name and credentials. ORCID or ORCID ID is a persistent identifier that links your name to the research and other scholarly activities you create or publish. We compare it to a LinkedIn for researchers. To make an ORCID, there is a convenient link on the resources slide at the end of this presentation. If you are utilizing a QR code to link extra information, we recommend placing it at the bottom right of your poster. However, if your placement of your QR code may depend on its function in your poster, reasons why you may utilize a QR code, link to a project webpage, a long list of references, or a survey. However, if you don't have any extra information to link to, you don't need a QR code. The best way to accomplish effective layout is to be conscious of your margins and spacing. Be sure you have a uniform gutter around your whole poster, the gutter being the outside edge. This will also prevent any printing errors where your work may be cut off. You will also want to check that the gaps between the rows are consistent. All in all, remember to avoid overcrowding your poster and be conscious of spacings and margins to make sure your poster is organized and uniform. If you choose to do so, adding an ORCID ID and a QR code can provide extra information. Now we'll talk about some bonus information, primarily about RAD and poster printing. Research Appreciation Day posters must be a PDF file with a file size not exceeding 500 megabytes. Also, as a quick reminder, make sure to submit your RAD poster and videos on time. The earlier, the better. While you don't need to print your poster for RAD, you may find you need to print a poster in the future. Minuteman Press has a relatively affordable price for posters, especially when compared to chains like Office Depot and FedEx Office. Do pay attention to poster size and orientation requirements and how your poster will be displayed at conferences, as this can impact your printing choice. An important note to remember is to be intentional with your design choices. Every choice you make, whether it's visual or content-based, conveys information to your audience. While we're unable to share real examples of RAD case report posters, most of our winning posters have a few elements you should consider adding to your poster. First, they are generally clearly titled as a case report. They are summarized and bulleted rather than having large paragraphs of information for ease of reading. They almost always have some sort of related visual information, including pictures, illustrations, or graphs. Winning RAD case report posters also have typical sections or subheadings that written case reports follow: an introduction, case information, follow-ups, outcomes, and discussion. Winning posters pay attention to font size, even on images and charts, as in-person viewers won't be able to zoom in on a poster. We have included some resources on this slide that might help you in creating your case report and research posters. Finally, we as librarians and library staff are not experts on case reports. If you have questions about a case report, please reach out to your mentors and advisors. We are happy to help you with questions about poster design, layout, and even turning your poster into a paper or case report to submit to publishers. Do contact the library if you experience any issues with submitting your RAD abstracts, posters, and videos. Thank you for watching this video about designing case report posters. Please don't hesitate to reach out to the library if you have any questions.